Mike McCool here. I'm in the Marlow Heights Baptist Church Fellowship Hall, I guess is what we call this. And we're here with some of our community leaders, and we're going to talk about the thermal shelter today. With us is Michelle Smeltzer. She's with the Warren County Department of Social Services and other jobs that you have, I know, and we have some workers and pastors for some local churches. So I'm going to let you start. I'm going to step away here for a minute, and we'll ask some questions, and we're going to find all about what local churches are doing with the thermal shelter and how the whole thing is coming together, all right?
Okay.
All right, Michelle.
Sounds
so
good.
Now, tell us what we have planned for this year for the thermal shelter. It opens on, I understand, December 21st?
It does, and it opens at New Hope Bible Church, and Bobby Stepp is the pastor. And also we have with us Eric Replog with Virginia Hills, and Jim Bunce from Marlow Heights, where we are shooting this video today.
Good, good. All right, so we're going to start with Bobby. And so December 21st, what happens?
Well, the first thing that happens is that we roll out our trusty van and we pick up our guests from CCap, which is behind St. Luke's Clinic on North Royal. We pick them up, we bring them to New Hope Bible Church, and that's about 6:30. We pick them up, we roll into New Hope about 7, and then we start the process. They will be fed a hot dinner, and cots will be set up, the bedding is all there, and volunteers, and they'll spend their first night.
A question I had is, how do people find out about it and get to the church, because you're moving the churches around each week? So the question was, how do you find homeless people? Or they find you?
Yes, they find us, and they're a community, so they talk to each other. We send out the schedule to all of the agencies that work with the homeless, and I will be posting them out. I haven't done it yet. Posting them up at the shelters and the parks, different areas where I know that they are, and in the library has our schedule.
Right.
So we try to get the word out as much as we can. But we also have a Facebook page. We have a website that has our information on there also.
All right. So Bobby, when we come over, how did you all get involved in this? Did Michelle come along and just twist your arm? Because I know she can be persuasive.
No, actually, we had some people in our congregation that the homelessness was very dear to their heart, and they kind of drug us into this, but not kicking and screaming. We saw it as a great opportunity to do something good in the community, and for people to just utilize their gifts in service and hospitality and ministering, providing food and fellowship for some of these people, our guests that came in on a regular basis.
Well, we talk about the giving. The blessing is in the giving, and
Amen.
more than so in the receiving. I mean, so your members are getting a blessing by giving their time and their effort and to share with people of less fortunate. Is that how your people are seeing this?
Oh yeah, very much. And we kind of snatched the week of Christmas every year.
Yeah,
because
we have volunteers.
Well, we have a school there, and the school's out, so
That's
it
good.
works convenient for us not to deal with the logistics of having the kids and all there. But
Sure.
It also allows us to invite them to our Christmas Eve service. We have a special dinner for them that evening, and then we have a big group. They'll come in on Christmas Day and fix breakfast, a special breakfast, sausage gravy, biscuits, you name it. And then they always have gifts made up for them for that day. And so then they stay an extended time. They usually are out by 6.
Mm-hmm, 6.
And so they'll stay an extended time that morning, and we won't push them out. But it's just it's an opportunity to really bless our guest with the love of Jesus.
Great, great. And the same over there at Virginia Hills?
Yes, sir. We jumped in because we found out about it through New Hope and Bobby here, and there were just some ladies that were incredibly passionate about doing something very helpful for the homeless people in the community, and so we saw it as an opportunity. And I was absolutely amazed by the energy behind all of it, and so it was easy to get on board with this. And we've been able to provide some extra things haircuts, showers, do different things for them just to make the stay with us a little bit more meaningful maybe. Our folks have just jumped in and really done a great job with it, and it's really energizing to our congregation.
It's going to say, it's amazing what it does for the congregation.
Very much so, yeah.
So this is a work that other churches could help with. I mean, you need more. I mean, you can extend the time. As we were talking before we started rolling the camera, it was cold in the last couple of weeks.
Right.
It was cold out. I mean, I was cold. So in my house, I was cold. So yeah, it'd be great if we could expand this a little bit. Let's move over here to Marlow Heights, because I know this is where we're at, and this is a big space. So the same for here at Marlow Heights?
Yes, for many years we had been helping the homeless in DC, taking trips every other month to help either feed them, provide clothing, that sort of thing. And so when we found out that there were actually homeless in Warren County, Front Royal, this was sort of a natural step in a closer direction. It was, a lot of people have worked to make this happen. It's not just been pastors or leaders. And it's been not just churches, it's been a lot of other community agencies such as social services that have participated in this. And I remember when the news first broke in the paper, local paper, about the homeless community here, I was shocked because I didn't know it. And I don't think
They don't live on the sidewalks here like they do in San Francisco or Washington,
Right.
D.C.
correct. And so that awareness really sparked the interest and the compassion in a lot of folks in the community. And so things just started coming together. And then with the thermal shelter idea, it was nice, I think, not to have to reinvent the wheel, because some surrounding counties are doing something like this, and so we could learn from them to organize and create the spaces that are necessary to provide a warm place to stay. It's, as you were saying, it doesn't take a lot of imagination to realize how miserable it would be to be sleeping outside on a day like today when it's rainy in the low 30s.
Yes, yes. Well, the thing about the thermal shelter is no one organization or one church is taking the full burden of this. We're able to share this across the community, and everyone is benefiting from the giving as well. I mean, we're taking this blessing and we're giving it to a lot of people, other than just the few that we have in the shelter itself.
Right.
So how's your congregation then reacting? Are you having any pushback? You're having a lot of...
Absolutely not. There's been no pushback at all. And I think anytime you start something different, there's always apprehension and,
Sure.
You know, is there going to be crime? Are there
Right.
going to be problems here?
Right.
And there haven't been with the night managers being trained and plenty of volunteers here throughout the entire experience. It has been just very, very smooth, and I expect it to stay that way. And the guests who come are folks just like we are, and they've just had unfortunate circumstances to be in the places where they are. A lot of them are very fun to talk with, and others, you know, there are, I don't know, there could be some disabilities and some
mental health issues
some mental health
and,
issues that
addiction
they
issues,
have.
yes.
Yeah, that they have had, but they're still very, very good folks that Jesus loves and that we love, and it's been a great relationship.
Right. Now, Michelle, you've kind of spearheaded this thing, and what can people do to get involved? You know, they're not a church or just individuals. They want to help. So what can they do?
Well, right now, as with most nonprofits, we need financial help. That it is about $1,100 a week to run the thermal shelter. We pay our night managers, and that is our biggest expense. So we have other expenses such as insurance and van maintenance and that kind of thing. But our largest 90% of what we take in goes to pay the night managers. So in order to run for the full season, we do need, you know, more donations.
So where can we send our
So-
donations to?
That can be sent to P.O. Box 454, Front Royal. We have Venmo, for those young people who know what that is. And we also have PayPal, which is, you can pay through our website.
Which is?
So it is www.thermalshelteroffrontroyal.com. And our Facebook page is Thermal Shelter of Front Royal. So,
Plenty of ways to get hold of you.
yes.
So send that check and send you a little message through there, and they can help. This
Yeah.
is a season of giving. We profess it, so we need to dig deep and help the thermal shelter here in Front Royal. Basically our neighbors. We're helping our neighbors because people say, 2 weeks without a paycheck and you'll be on the street. So
Right.
people could be, it won't happen to me. That's what a lot of these people said too.
I work with a lot of people that are on the verge of homelessness all the time. So it's something that some people go in and out of, but it's very real here in Warren County. And one thing I wanted to say is these 3 churches plus Riverton were our original churches. We started off with 4 churches our first season, and we had 5 weeks. Marlow Heights did 2 weeks, and but all the churches have done 2 weeks pretty much every year. And I just wanted to say that the 4 pastors that we have, Mark Roberson is not able to be with us today, but we're the pioneers in getting the thermal shelter started here in Warren County. And I really appreciate all that you've done in the support.
But you have more than 4 now.
Yes, now we have more than 4. Now we have 12. So we went from 4 to 9 last year to 12 this year. So we added 3 more churches. And in order to extend, and we've gotten a lot of comments and messages that why aren't we open earlier? Because it does, in November, that's when it starts getting cold. And we don't open because we don't have enough churches and we don't have the funds to open earlier. So if we don't have county support financially, we don't have town support financially. So it's not like we're getting thousands and thousands of dollars.
You're not getting government handouts. This
Right.
is a community.
This is
community
all
event.
donations, all community organizations, individuals, and the churches. Though they host and they also donate. So that's how we're able to maintain this through 15 weeks this season. So.
Well, the Royal Examiner wants to help, and we want to get the message out. And anything we can do to do that, we would be more than glad to do it. So hopefully people will be watching. I'll put the information in the story where they can reach you and where they can send their checks.
Yes.
And if I could add to
Sure.
that also, the issue of homelessness, we're not here just to try to put a Band-Aid on a disease, but we have had nursing staff come in to do some basic medical checks on our guests, and also just through the networking of the various people who volunteer, plus Michelle and others like her, we're able to help these folks find perhaps some other eligible resources to help them get out of the homelessness, if at all possible. So it's more than just opening up the doors and saying y'all come in and eat and here's some food and see you next year.
Right.
It is really trying to alleviate the entire problem.
Right. We try to make them, sign them up for programs that they're qualified for through social services or through other community resources, Northwestern for one. So another thing I wanted to add is some of the churches are going to allow us to have dogs. And we have teamed up with the Humane Society of Warren County, and they will be providing crates to some of the churches. So if someone has a dog and they're homeless, in the past we haven't been able to house them. But this year we're going to do a trial run and see how that works. So I just want to throw that out there. Thank you to the Humane Society for offering to do this.
Part of our community is what
Yes.
we're doing. Let's talk to Bobby real quick here before we leave and say any other comments you want to make.
Well, I do. I see the participation in the thermal shelter is kind of almost like a short-term mission. You go someplace a short-term and you get to smell the smells, feel the dirt under your feet, and you come away with a vast knowledge of experience that you don't have as you sit back and just watch it. And so when you come in and interact with the guests at the homeless shelter, you start to see them as individuals. You start to see them as, actually we have people that meet them all year long, that go and track them down in town and make sure some of their needs are met during the summer, and And so it becomes a friendship even in some instances. And so it's that one-to-one, that flesh-to-flesh contact that just really makes it a very special opportunity for the churches to participate in. And we see God moments. This year we had an individual that had one leg. And so someone just calls me up and says, hey, I've got a motorized wheelchair. Do you know anybody that can use that? And here we've got this guy at the thermal shelter with one leg, and we gave him a wheelchair, and he's running around. You see him running around town now in this wheelchair, and it's just kind of neat to see that come together as a community. So
That's great. Same thing over at Virginia.
Yeah, for me, it's we are called as believers, as followers of Jesus, to be who he would be if he were here. And I think that using all of his resources while he was here, all of his godness, he did so much to help the people that were in his life. And I just feel like we have forgotten that sometimes in the world that we live in because we get caught up with life. And I think that this is an easy opportunity for our church members, for believers, to do something practical to help people on a very real level. We build relationships with them. There's one of the gentlemen that's like a friend of mine now because of the relationship that we built during the thermal shelter time. He now lives at our church. He works for us now, and it has been a real joy to watch him get on his feet and get his qualifications in to meet some of his requirements that were needed to get the government assistance that he needed. But these are relationships that are being built because of the ladies who had a dream years ago about starting a thermal shelter to help the folks in our community. So it's a great opportunity.
One thing you mentioned, I heard you say mission work. It's true. People will go to all parts of the world to do mission work and don't realize that the mission is when you walk through those doors, you're entering a mission field, and it's right here in our own backyard.
And Mike, there's opportunities too for smaller churches to be involved, and I know we've talked about that. We've got some churches that have a place that could house it, but the congregation's not big enough to do all the volunteers and bring in the food. So we could use congregations that said, hey, we can do meals for 3 days a week, or we can volunteer. And so there's opportunity to contact the thermal shelter and link up with other churches that may be struggling to get the volunteers in there. They have the space. And it also gives opportunity for, hey, here's a church with a space, not enough people, and here's a place with a bunch of people and no space.
Right. Right.
And to bring those together, and so to see two churches team up to meet a need, and it just adds one more week to our schedule.
That's great. All right, Michelle, I really appreciate all the things all you guys do. And hopefully we can motivate someone else to see what the mission is and to go forth and proclaim the good news.
Thank you.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.